looks like I'm being pulled into it again. And I don't know, at this point, I'm really beginning to think that, just to reiterate what Brother Painless was saying, I'm really beginning to think that a lot of what you guys are out there doing is just because you have nothing else to do, you have nothing better to do, you have nothing else to contribute. This whole thing about the, this is whole oh gosh, I'm just so aggravated and annoyed with it now that I just I can't even get my thoughts straight on this because it's just, to me, you guys are just so full of yourselves. Let's put it that way. Now, yes, everybody knows General Backlash and how much he's always had a hot poker for the failures and the faults of black women out there. And of course, I got labeled in with being one of the proverbial black woman bashers out there, and that I was just going around there just so I could just crap on black women. And of course, I won all sorts of accolades and kudos and everything. It's like, oh yeah, tell it, Brother Backlash, you know, put them black hoes in their place and call them out for themselves. But I told you, I'm about fairness and I'm about truth. And so the curious thing that happens is, as soon as it comes time for self-evaluation and self-critique, in other words, turning the spotlight off of black women and their faults, which of course they do have very many, and there's much work that needs to be done in order to correct not only their situation, but by extension to correct the situation of the African American community, because again, as I've stated before, the source of the problem is the black woman, no question about that. I will never backpedal from that. However, ultimately, the fault lies with black men. Yes, I said it and I will continue to say it. The ultimate fault lies with black men. Men, 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 men. And I've explained it, I don't know how many different times I've explained it, I don't know how many different ways I've tried to explain it, and yet I still keep getting heat from it because of the fact that, oh, I'm not beating up on black women anymore. Oh, I'm turning the spotlight on the focus and putting a mirror up in front of our faces now. Oh, now I gotta call us out on our shortcomings. Brother, you're not supposed to do that. Bros before hoes, don't you know? No. I'm about fairness and equality and consistency. And wherever there's a problem, I'm going to call out the problem. And here's the problem with us as far as what we're doing as men. See, we want the easy out by always pointing the finger of blame at somebody else. Oh, it's these black women, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're disrespecting the brothers, and they're turning them down, and they don't respect the black man, they're going after white man. Okay, yeah, we got all that. We know all that. So yeah, as a result of how they lost their respect for their black men seeing essentially, hey, the easiest way from point A to point B, from out of my drawers into her drawers, is just to be the kind of man that she's comfortable with having around her. If she's not going to make any demands, then we're not going to make any adjustments to be the men of character that we need to be. So if black women are essentially running around with ne'er-do-wells and guys who aren't about things like their education, or they don't have a broad worldview about themselves or anything, or that they're not marriage material or family men types and everything, but if all they're okay with is, hey, you can have 6 or 7 different baby mamas out there, and you can be selling drugs, or you can be half-ass working or not working at all, and you can just live up under your whatever. If that's what black women accept, and that's what they appreciate, and that's what they're comfortable with actually accepting, we have a choice to make. Unfortunately, black men's problem is we make the wrong choice, because as the old proverbial saying goes, we much prefer to think with our small heads than with our large heads. And so the whole thing of like, to quote Solid Black, oh, you're so pussy, I can get anything to get some pussy, and you need that pussy, man. And so pussy has defined black maleness, apparently. And the only value that we have as relates to black women is their vagina. And of course, you know, black women, you're okay with that, you're fine with it, it's like, hey, no problem. come and get some of this pink hole of mine and everything, and run it in me raw and blah blah blah. And okay, oops, I got another baby. Well, okay, that's par for the course. That's standard procedures. And oh yeah, by the way, niggas ain't shit because you ran up raw inside of me, even though I'm the one who ripped my panties off and spread my legs up to the four winds, corners of the earth, and I told you, do me, baby, do me like an animal. And but because you're not a quality black man, well, niggas ain't shit, and I'm just gonna keep complaining about it. I'm just gonna keep, and the cycle keeps going. The cycle keeps going because I'm not going to learn my lesson, and the reason I'm not going to learn my lesson is because guess what? Black men, you aren't giving black women any options. And this is why I lay the bulk of the blame on the laps of black men, as I've explained it numerous times already. Black women are only going to allow you to go as far as you're going to allow them to accept. Did I make any sense? Okay, maybe, excuse me. I'm not exactly how well that turned out. Right now, I really don't care. But the essential thing that I'm trying to get out is simply this. If your whole complaint is about how black women aren't measuring up, how they're not being the kind of women that black men should want to gravitate toward, that they want to build relationships with, their fault is clearly that they don't care. Because they're willing to be satisfied and to just accept whatever's out there, whatever flips their fantasy and everything. So on their level, yeah, if you're going to keep going after the wrong kinds of guys, then don't complain when you keep getting mistreated and when you get left holding a bag or you don't have a firm, solid relationship. But part of the problem also is the fact that we don't give them any options. Because, again, we're playing off of what they're feeding us. They're saying, hey, boys, you can just be whatever, and we'll accept you, especially since there's a shortage of black men. And, in order to get mine, I got to play against whatever's out there. And if it's not all the most honorable thing out there, well, it's a man, so I'm going to get mine. And if it's somebody else's, then I'll get some of hers too, just so that I can have a little bit of that. And we keep falling for that. Now, we're men. How many times do I have to keep saying the fact that as men, we know the rules of the game. We know that we have a particular character that we're supposed to uphold and certain principles that we're supposed to stand on at all times. White men do it, Asian men do it, Hispanic men do it, any other immigrant man, Arabic, whatever, he does it. We're the only men in this entire earth that do not stand on character and principles and do the things that men are supposed to do. Be men of honor, integrity, hardworking, and visionaries, honest, decent, loyal, faithful, compassionate. Well, not so much compassionate because a lot of men have a problem with the whole compassion angle. But you understand what I'm getting at. All the other men of every other society understands the role of a man in that society and what his responsibility is simply because of the fact that he is a man. And no amount of half-assing or manipulation on the part of his woman is going to cause him to falter from what he knows he needs to be as a man, except a black man. We are so enslaved to the vagina of our black women that we will throw every other thing that we are supposed to be having in our possession as far as our character, as far as what we need to do out there in this world as men. That this whole stuff about you bitches and hoes and this, they don't want a good guy. It's like, well, okay, fine, they don't want a good guy, but how many of us are actually giving them good guys as an option? Not to say that they still wouldn't want somebody with rough edges and that they would still settle for somebody who was Mr. Excitement, all that other stuff. But see, here's the deal. If there were more of us than more of them, then don't you realize that, hey, once they saw that black men were going to be on this higher level and there's going to be more of them than what's down here, which is what they have most to pull from as their pool, then maybe, don't you think that maybe they would start rethinking their attitudes also and start saying, well, hey, in order for me to get a man, I have to be something that a man will find attractive, that he would find that's something that he wants to be a part of his life, that he wants to share his life with. And so they can't figure out, why are all the good black men going to white women? Hello? It's because the few decent, honorable, quality black men that are out there who are looking for the same in black women can't find them. And the reason they can't find them is because black women are convinced that, oh, nice guys, y'all ain't worth nothing, so yeah, we don't want you. Until he hooks up with somebody else, especially outside the race, and it's like, nigga, what are you going over there for? When you got all these beautiful sisters out here, and you're going to go chasing after it, well, we tried to put ourselves out there. You decided that we're not what you wanted, so we're going to go where we're accepted and where our character and our integrity as men is going to be appreciated by somebody. And see, that's the key. So this whole thing about it's all just the black woman's fault, no, it's not. I never at any time said it's all just the black woman's fault. They bear the greater burden, as I've always stated, as I will continue to state, because of the fact that we are so weak for black pussy that we will prevent our own selves from excelling and achieving great things. But ultimately, that still falls on our laps as men, because as men, we should be striving and achieving for great things regardless of whether or not our women accept us. Because you know what? If our women reject us, there are other women out there who will appreciate what they see, and they'll say, hey, if nobody else in that community has snatched them up, I'm going to snatch them up. And you know what? Here comes the light-skinned elite community. All these mixed race babies that everybody's screaming and hollering and complaining about, it ain't really black and all that other stuff. Well, hey, guess who made them? They didn't just go out one day and say, oh, I just don't like sisters because I got some racial hatred thing going on. It's like, no, I'm a man. I want a decent woman, and I can't find a decent woman in my community because they don't care crap about what kind of men appeal to them. So, okay, since I'm going to be a man of integrity, I'm going to go where my integrity is valued, and it ain't in the black female community. So if you want to change that picture, do it, boys. You have to give black women an option. Either be the kind of man that they would most benefit with, that they claim that they want, which they don't keep going after, but of course, you give them that option. Change yourself first. Because you've heard black women say it all the time, and on that point, I don't disagree with them. They say, black men need to change first. Well, actually that's not true, but ultimately it is true. Because the problem is, we're both waiting for the other one. Black women are waiting for black men to change, and black men are waiting for black women to change, and nobody's making any changes because everybody's waiting for the other one, but we're men. We're supposed to take the initiative. Supposed to. But because we're so weak and we're so enslaved to that black coochie, then unfortunately the responsibility falls into the lap, literally and figuratively, of the black woman. She has to make the first effort to make sure that the system gets changed. But it should not be her job. It should be our job because we're the ones with the penis. We are the men of the equation. And if we acquiesce our manhood, then don't holler and complain about all these black men out there who don't know what it means to be a man, or who don't know what things like family and relationships and things of that sort are about. Don't go there. Don't blame the black women for our failures when we live in a society where we know exactly what our place is and what our attitudes and what our influence should be in that community and in that society. So if I have to settle this argument one way or the other, do I blame black men for the reason why the black community is failing? You're damn right. And I always have. So what are you going to do? You're going to keep blaming black women? Well, yeah, you can blame black women all you want to, because they deserve a lot of the blame. But ultimately, the blame falls into your lap, black man, Get it together or shut the hell up. End of line.